Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I took a pause in my campaign after Arbaeen. In this campaign for Hijaz, for the freedom of Hijaz, after the Arbaeen of Imam Hasan AS, because I wanted to see whether people have started talking about this issue on their own, and also wanted to allow people to unite for the month of Rabiul Awwal, which is a sacred and blessed month for the entire Muslim Ummah. However, I'm afraid to say that this issue wasn't raised as much as I was hoping for. In fact, except for one person that I know and really respect dearly, who kept on raising this issue in all his speeches and lectures, there wasn't any mention of this issue. To the point that I also stopped looking at WhatsApp and other social media platforms. And instead of unity in Rabiul Awwal, Um, there were two dreadful bombings and Friday prayers in Shia mosques in Afghanistan after the takeover of Taliban. While I'm disappointed, it gives me new energy to continue to raise awareness. One day, inshallah, things will change and we will be able to stand in front of Allah and claim that we did our part, even if things don't change in our life. We are in Rabiul Thani. This is the month when the peace treaty was signed between Imam Hasan AS and Muawiya. This event played a pivotal role in exposing the hypocrites from the true believers and was one of the building blocks of Karbala. This event has many lessons for the Muslims of today. The first thing we should know is that Imam Hasan AS agreed to the peace treaty under very strenuous circumstances. He did not want to, but was left with no options because he didn't have any supporters. After the agreement was signed, when both parties were gathered at one place, Imam alayhis salam went onto the pulpit and gave a very deep sermon, which resonates till today and lays the foundation of how Muslims should have acted in the past and should act today. After the Hamd Sana of Allah and Durood Salam on Muhammad Ali Muhammad, the Imam continued. O people, Muawiyah thinks that I have considered him eligible for Khilafah and did not consider myself eligible. However, Muawiyah is categorically and completely wrong in this thought. By Quran and Hadith, I am the most eligible person for this position among all people. I take oath on Allah that if everyone had accepted my bay'ah, obeyed me, and helped me, I would have brought for them every drop of water from the sky and all the treasures of the earth. O Muawiyah, tell me that why are you so greedy about this rulership? Especially when Prophet has himself said that if the Ummah leaves the most knowledgeable and follows someone who is not knowledgeable, this power will always remain with the non-deserving, till the point that the nation starts following the cow like Bani Israel, who left Hazrat Harun and started worshipping the cow, even when they knew that Harun was the Khalifa of Prophet Musa. Similarly, the Muslim Ummah left Imam Ali alayhi salam even when they knew that he was the rightful Khalifa after the Prophet, and the Prophet had already told everyone that Ali had the same relationship to me as Harun had to Musa. When the Prophet himself didn't find any supporters from the nation, he went into the cave, the valley of Abu Talib, Shebi Abu Talib. If he had found support, he would have stayed outside. Similarly, Mavia, if I had enough friends, I would have never accepted this peace agreement. Oh, people, even if you search east and west, you will find not a single person, not a single son of prophet except for me and my brother. And that was the sermon of Imam Hassan as-salam. There are many important meanings hidden in the sermon. Let me call them out. There are four specific things I want to call out. First, the Imam claimed if people helped him, he would have brought them for them every drop of water from the sky and all the treasures of the earth. It is a very similar wording that is mentioned in Surah Al Ma'idah, verse 66, where Allah says they would have been overwhelmed with provisions from above and below. In verse 65 and 66, Allah is telling Jews and Christians that had they accepted and followed the teachings of the books revealed to them, they would have received bounties from all directions. But there is no mention of Muslims. These verses are followed by the verse where Allah instructs the Prophet to convey the message of the wilayah of Imam Ali alayhi salam, which was carried out on the day of Ghadir. This message, if followed, would have had the same benefit mentioned by Allah for Muslims as Allah mentioned for Jews and Christians had they followed their book. What are the benefits? Allah says, again I repeat, they would have been overwhelmed with provisions from above and below. Now, look at the words of Imam Hasan as. Imam says, if people had helped me, I would have brought for them every drop of water from the sky and all the treasures of the earth. This can only be said by a person who knows the Quranic conditions and is the rightful heir of Khilafah and Imama. Second point, Imam Hasan salam said that when there were no supporters, the Prophet spent years in the valley in Mecca and went into a cave. With his small number of followers, without supporters, Imam Hasan salam also went into seclusion like his father and grandfather. In today's world, today's society, we need to be different than those who did not support the Imams. We need to stand with justice and stand with haq against the oppressive rulers. Number three, Imam Hassan salam said that, O people, even if you search east and west, you will find not a single son of the Prophet except for me and my brother. These are exactly the same words that Imam Hussein salam used on the plains of Karbala when he warned people and informed them about his status on the day of Ashura. The only difference was that when Imam Hussein used these words, he said, except for me, because the Ummah had already killed his brother, Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Because Muawiya, the Khalifa, had already poisoned Imam Hassan alayhi salam. And number four, this is absolutely pertinent to today, to the topic of Hijaz. The rulership should be with the most deserving and who is the most knowledgeable. This is the key point which we can take a stand on today and support the cause of justice. The rulers of Saudi Arabia, who are called the custodians of the two holy shrines, are an enemy of the religion and humanity and lack basic knowledge of religion. Some might say, why do I say that? How can I say that? Because of many reasons. Let me talk about some of these. First of all, this ruler, he is the undisputed accused killer of Jamal Khashoggi. A killer. Can he be the custodian of the two holy shrines, Medina and Mecca? Second, he has transformed Saudi Arabia into an anti Islamic society where you have 25,000 attendees in a pitbull concert concentrated in an area without regard to mask or anything. But then you have less than 55,000 Hajis performing Hajj in over 2 years, and very small number of people who can go for Umrah. And then there, this is a place where religious laws are created to serve personal objectives completely against Islam. Few examples in this regard. For example, previously women were prohibited from pilgrimage without a male guardian or their permission and were not allowed to drive, but are now allowed to travel and drive. Well, their Islam might have changed overnight. Previously, the sound of prayer from the Haramain was broadcasted outside on the streets of Mecca and Medina, but now it is prohibited. On regular days, one can wear black in the mosque of the Prophet, but on the 9th and 10th of Muharram, black clothes are not allowed. And on the night of the 10th of Muharram, the haram of the Prophet is closed for worship. Who has given them the right to prevent people from entering the mosque of the Prophet? And who has given them right to ban something which is made halal by Allah? That is black color. Did Islam change, or they are changing things according to their own whims? This person is not knowledgeable to be the ruler or the custodian. They can be the ruler of Najd, but they should not be the custodian of Hijaz. And then there are many more heinous crimes against his own countrymen. For example, the Shias of Qatif. And in countries like Yemen. And if we don't agree with any of this, I highly recommend people to just watch the 60 minutes interview with the head of the security agency of Saudi Arabia that was published 2 weeks ago. You can search on YouTube 60 minutes interview of Saudi intelligence officer. And that in that interview he reveals that how this person considered assassination of his own king. This is a sadistic individual who the entire Muslim Ummah should rise against. And when I say rise against, I don't mean, I just want to say that they should highlight that this is not the quality of a person who should be the custodian of a place revered by the entire Muslim Ummah. Makkah and Medina belong to the entire Muslim Ummah, not to a household dynasty. May Allah give us the strength to make a difference and to free Hijaz from oppression so that the blessings of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad can be experienced by the humanity and the illegitimate and incorrect ideologies taken down. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. رب اغفر لي ولوالدي ولمن دخل بيتي مؤمنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات ولا تزد الظالمين إلا تبارا. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.